When the forces of the League of Shadows wage war against Deathstroke and his forces within Deathstroke Inc., what will happen? Well, you get yourselves a Shadow War. Joshua Williamson's Shadow War starts this Batman Deathstroke crossover event with a bang, both figuratively and literally, because after centuries of using violence to help change the world, Ra's al Ghul has called it quits, with there obviously being more to the story towards the reasoning of doing so. However, before we can find out anything else about that, as to why Ra's is surrendering himself, he is killed immediately by Deathstroke, or at least seemingly so by the Slade Wilson. And so just like that, Williamson takes one of the most, I'd say, important and personal villains of Batman and just literally changes the landscape forever. Obviously, Ra's is no patron saint, but his character was important and loved by Batman's family, specifically Damian and Talia. And so because of that, not only does it force Batman to become involved, but it brings Damian and Bruce together, ever since their fall, which began following the City of Bane, back when Alfred died. Plus the fact that Williamson is the main writer for all three books, Batman, Deathstroke Inc., and Robin, the story feels more organic rather than the, oh, we need something big and insane to happen like right now for DC. Make an event, Joshua. I love the fast pacing that Williamson brings to the issue because, you as the reader, you feel this unrest, especially coming from Ra's, who is a character that isn't easily scared, yet we see that he is terrified, scared because of something within the Lazarus Pit, that same power and substance which basically allows Ra's to, not fear or be wary of death. Rather, he welcomes it. And so because of the many questions brought up from Ra's, only for him to get killed in a glorious Game of Thrones fashion, it paves way for immediate intrigue, for the plot and the characters being affected by it. And not only do we wonder about what Ra's was scared of, but it turns out that Slade Wilson wasn't the one responsible for killing the villain. Instead, he's been framed, thereby adding additional intrigue. Victor Von Bannemek's artwork is amazing. It's fun, it's welcoming, and it's everything that I want in the Batman book. The pencils are detailed, and they carry this layer of shroud, which, makes sense since the event is called Shadow War. Plus, I kept getting this Greg Capullo vibe throughout every single page. And honestly, if you can draw similar to Greg Capullo in a Batman book, I ain't gonna complain. I'm gonna fucking love it. And when it comes to the book's colors, it's absolutely delicious. Spicer's work is marvelous. I love how prominent the greens, the orange, and the blacks are used in the issue. Truly highlights the factions that are involved with the plot. Obviously, black for the Batman family, green smoke for the League of Shadows, and of course a strong orange for Deathstroke. Overall, Shadow War Alpha issue number 1 was an action-filled blockbuster opening that truly surprised me, especially since I was not a fan of the whole Abyss story arc's conclusion. I felt that was a very watered-down, rushed ending, and I wasn't okay with that. But Williamson showcases his love for past continuity, bringing back everyone who was a member of the League of Shadows, making this comic feel earned and respected for the world happening outside of Williamson's titles. But yeah, I would say that if you're looking to get into a Batman Deathstroke crossover, then this is the one. Shadow War Alpha issue number 1 gets a sexy 9 out of 10. Shadow War Alpha starts things off quite literally where the last issue of Robin ended, that being Ra's al Ghul having been told by his mother, Mother Soul, that something is wrong with the Lazarus Pit, and whatever that something is freaking him the hell out, to the point where he's become extremely paranoid. Plus, given the fact that Ra's is suffering from the same illness that his mother died from, he basically knows that his time is coming to an end. Also, side note, in case you guys haven't been reading Joshua Williamson's Robin series, just know that Damian, Talia, and Ra's have all come together quite nicely. Mother and son are talking and are training together, and yeah, things are looking pretty good. And obviously the whole family dynamic is fucked, but at least no one is trying to kill each other. So yeah, that's always a plus when it comes to family. Meanwhile in Gotham, the villain known as Lockup, Deep Cut, being a D-list villain who has been seemingly capturing paroled convicts, thinking that these lowlives should be given a much more heavier sentence than what they were given. But before he can do anything insane, Batman shows up and kicks the crap out of Lockup, freeing the captured convicts while encouraging them to keep up the great work. From there, Batman is immediately alerted by Barbara, who lets the hero know of breaking news regarding Ra's al Ghul and Talia turning themselves into the DEO. However, as the days go by, this surrendering is actually causing one heck of an international incident. Because when you have someone like Ra's al Ghul who's extremely well connected, well, you can bet your bottom dollar that folks from foreign countries are probably not too keen to the idea that Ra's is surrendering himself to the US. People and countries, they want jurisdiction, such as Leviathan from Markovia. However, things even on a more personal level are becoming complicated, because later at night, we learn that Talia never actually wanted to turn herself in. Instead, she was happy and content with what they had with the League of Shadows. But not only that, but things were great with Damien. Mother and son were on speaking terms, plus she just wrestled back control over from Leviathan during Bendis' Checkmate series. Bendis is coming. Oh! So basically she's pissed. Yet despite everything she is saying, Ra's admits that, we've been trying to change the world for a long time via violence. But the only thing that's gotten us is more enemies and a world on a brink of ecological disaster. What I'm trying to say, Talia, is that I'm trying something different here. And so because of that, I just need you to trust me. Just trust that I'm going to do the right thing. The best thing for not just the world, but for both you and Damien. Thus, the following morning, with Ra's readying himself to make the announcement via a major media press conference, we have Batman and Damien on a rooftop together, overseeing the situation, making sure nothing terrible goes off, like would-be attacks or assassination attempts. And while father and son themselves have an awkward conversation, the world prepares to watch, as Ra's addresses the world through his speech, introducing himself as a demon's head, and that he is someone who has lived for thousands of years. Thus, he has seen everything that the world has to offer, both the good and the bad, and that for the past few hundred years, he took it upon himself to change humanity, to help make the world a better place. But according to Ra's, he has only just recently found the value within people. Therefore, via meditation and because of his family, Ra's is willing to gift the world and the science community the Lazarus Pits, because he believes that the world is truly worth saving. But fuck you, because within an instant, Ra's is shot in the head, assassinated by the one and only Deathstroke, the Terminator. Deathstroke, the Terminator. Now Batman, he tries his best to combat Deathstroke, but Deathstroke has unleashed multiple grenades. Explosion after explosion pops off, just one after another. A lot is happening, but in addition to that, we all know that Ra's has a chance, for someone just needs to get to his body to a Lazarus pit, and that's what Damien is hell-bent on doing. However, Deathstroke throws another grenade next to the body of Ra's. Therefore, Batman does the only thing that he can. He saves his son, with the grenade going off, disintegrating the body of Ra's al Ghul, the demon's head. Now once the dust settles, we see Damien crying over the death of his grandfather. And for Damien, this is a particular situation because now he has lost two grandparents. The first being Alfred, through an honorable and parental sense, of course. Therefore, after blaming Batman for getting in the way, he promises Batman that he's going to do what no one has been able to do. He's going to kill Deathstroke. Later on, we check in with the wounded Talia, who returns back to Nepal, and just as she's about to take a dip in the Lazarus pit, she doesn't. Rather, she decides to keep the wound, to which he orders the League to assemble the Shadows, to which we see every single League of Shadows member assemble, every single member across DC continuity. And if you know anything about Joshua Williamson, bro loves DC history. And we have characters like Merlin, the Demon's Fist from the Teen Titans book during Rebirth, Rictus, December Greystone, Sportsmaster. It's clear that Talia is pissed, and thus the League of Shadows declares war on Deathstroke, but not just Slade Wilson, his entire family, and all of his accomplices. Now over in Zendaya, the HQ for Deathstroke Inc., we have Prometheus and Deadline, who are having a WTF moment, because they can't understand why on earth Slade would kill Ra's al Ghul. Like, it just doesn't make any sense, especially with what he's been trying to do with uplifting the society into a less version of the Legion of Doom, and more so in a hey, let's help humanity sort of way. But it's here where we find out that Slade Wilson wasn't the one who killed Ra's, because it turns out that Deathstroke has one, not worn that costume in years, and two, he's been way too busy of late training his son, Respawn, aka Damian Wayne's half-brother. And just as things are becoming even more insane, the League of Shadows shows up, breaking through the windows of Slade's HQ. And with swords drawn, the League of Shadows have made claim for Slade Wilson's head. And that, folks, was the end of Shadow War Alpha, issue number 1. And thank you guys for checking out my video, as it truly means the world to me. And as always, I'm your majestic sayer of words, SuperCliff, and if you guys are new to the channel, then do me a solid by smashing that like and subscribe button. And also hit the notification bell so that you'll never miss out on an upload, and so that you'll always be kept up to date with your favorite top tier comics happening in the comic book world. Now tell me, what are your thoughts and opinions on this issue? Are you guys excited for Batman issue number 122, the second part to Shadow War? Let me know down in the comment section below. And until the next video, peace.